Good morning. Today is September the 17th, 2014. Excuse me if I sputter a little bit this morning. It's 3 a.m. and my typical waking up in the middle of the night with my prayers answered and my thoughts that I process in my head from the enemy. Satan is rising. He's rising and he's all around you. I'm going to talk about it quickly as I can, several topics. Number one, Ray Rice. Obviously, the media, the government, the banks, the large corporation bankers, people who are spraying chemtrails on you, people who are fracking your land, forcing you to have smart meters, things like that. They basically are killing you, and then they're telling you that we don't want you to be married. They're going to control your marriages. And think about that. Why would people all over the nation want to control one man's marriage? Why would the media want to control it? What's really happening is the media has literally destroyed the man's life. They've destroyed the marriage. They've slandered him all over. What good are we doing for humanity? And why is it our business why a man and a wife fights? First of all, the maritime law courts is what prosecutes men like that, steals millions of dollars from them. They could have been in a situation, let's say a contract, to where they got a little bit better player, the Ravens, right? They got a little bit better player. So, of course, NFL is tied in with media. And let's say maybe they want to get rid of Roger Goodell, right? So they launched this media campaign against Ray Rice so that they can replace him, get rid of his contract, of course, attack Roger Goodell at the same time. Stop paying him so much money. Because he's probably on the contract too. And you people are out there are picketing and holding signs and slandering and judging mankind when you have more sin than Ray Rice does, probably. Most of you. Most of you can't even look at the mirror at yourself. We're not walking in the footsteps of Jesus Christ. He says, do not throw stones. God says, do not judge mankind. We can't judge. But we have judges sitting on thrones with pagan god symbols all around them. Hammers of Thor and hammers of Osiris. Black robes, secret society, 3 steps to his throne, sitting on a throne, judging mankind. And then the media shares it on TV, Judge Judy, Judge Wapner, Judge this, And you see the relationship between the maritime law judges and the television. And then the maritime law judges and the NFL. They're all in cahoots with each other. And that's what's wrong with this world. That's what's wrong with the world. We've got too many people who have too much money. And that's when the world starts self-destructing. Jesus warned us about this well. That's why he turned over the tables. If Jesus were alive today, he'd walk into Walmart and he'd start screaming, hey, there's pagan god symbols all over your food. These corporations, you're buying food from them. Satan. They worship Satan. They worship pagan gods. Why are you buying the food? And then, of course, they would arrest him, call him a terrorist, and lock him up in prison. And then the media would say, hey, this guy thinks he's Jesus. And then they would ruin his life. Isn't that a crucifixion? I would say yes. Now we have Adrian Peterson also. He obviously spanked his child with a stick. Well, guess what? I got whipped with a stick, 40, 50 times. I used to get beat with a paddle by my own teacher. This is reality, people. And I turned out actually very well. I did extremely well in corporations and was very disciplined. I took martial arts. I used to teach people for years how to overcome their fears. And I was a manager of a lot of corporations. I've trained people how to be successful and make a lot of money. My mother one time took a fly swatter and beat me one time. I had whelps on my legs. Let me ask you a question. How is the media going to solve that problem? It's not even a problem. It's between me and my mother. It has nothing to do with the media. Nothing. And if my mother whips me, that's between her and God. Me and my mother, that's our personal relationship. We build that trust. Now, I'm not saying it's okay to take a fly swatter and beat the heck out of your kid. I'm not saying that. But how is the media going to solve it? Once again, Adrian Peterson's probably under some contract, and they're going to get out of it and say, hey, you beat your kid, bad publicity. We're going to erase your contract. There's probably some other guy in the organization that they want to attack by using their media. They own it. They sit in secret society meetings and say, hey, I got a problem. I got to get out of this contract, so I need this. I need this favor. We're going to show pictures. I would like to know if Adrian Peterson whips his son, how in the world does the NFL get photos of a son being beaten? I mean, what did they do? Break into his house in the middle of the night and take pictures of his kid naked? I mean, seriously. How was there a camera in an elevator? Are you not stupid enough to understand? I've never seen a camera in an elevator. Ever. But all of a sudden, there's some guy taking a picture of Ray Rice hitting his wife. How is this happening? This is staged media, my friend, for agendas. So they can steal guns. They want to take away your freedoms. They want new laws. And you got to understand something. These new laws and these agendas, they're going to make trillions of dollars off of your ignorance. When are we ever going to say, look, I don't want to know about what's going on with Adrian Peterson. I don't want to know what's going on with Ray Rice. Let me tell you what you do. You collectively refuse to conform. Just stop watching football. It's obviously corrupt. I mean, last year I watched the Saints just take a bail. Knows they got a pagan god symbol on their helmet. What is it, Seahawks? I watched the quarterback, Drew Brees, deliberately throw an interception. The interception, the other team didn't catch it. It was tipped. Our team caught the ball on like the 10-yard line. They were about to make a touchdown, and I watched Drew Brees deliberately blow the game. Right then and there. He looked at his coach. He's like, oh, man, I didn't mean... I was told in my microphone, in my headphone, to throw an interception, and I did what I was supposed to do for the secret societies and the bankers I work for. I work for Capital One. I work for VIX and medical corporations. Most evil corporations in the world. I got contracts with these people. And they told me to do this, and I did what I said. Well, now what do? Well, I deliberately get a delay of game. And I drive my team back, another 20 yards. And I deliberately don't make a touchdown. And I deliberately lose the game. Because the quarterback, I don't care what you say, I played football. He controls the game. Absolutely 100%. He can blow it. It's like he's the commander-in-chief of the army. So basically, we live in a society that the NFL, the media, the government, the banks, oil companies control our lives. Is that wise? Is this what we call intelligence? And all these people are supposed to serve us. And somehow there's been a conscience shift to where Satan controls us. And most of you are okay with that. You're going to hold signs up and say, don't beat your kid, Adrian Peterson. I'm the dictators of your life. I'm your judge and jury. You're going to hold up a sign. You're going to protest. And they got the secret societies influencing you to protest. I watched a lady outside of a grocery store. Something about slap your mom a food or something like that. So they're attacking the name of the corporation. It's unbelievable what's happening. And I just can't believe I live in a society. I'll tell you, I know exactly how Jesus Christ felt. He didn't say, forgive them, Father, for they don't know. He said, forgive these idiots, Father, because they're freaking idiots. Because he knew truth. He was on a journey towards truth, just like I try to be. And you start to see how stupid the world is. The other day, I was filming some mushrooms that they grow. And all of a sudden, some kind of strange cobweb type thing just attacks them. The trees are dying, the birds are dying, the oceans are dying, the fish are dying, the plankton in the oceans are dying, the whales, everything, the bees, everything's dying. We're facing an extinction level event right now, currently. The species are dying faster than the days of the dinosaurs. I'm watching it. I walk out in the woods, there's no animals out there. They're dying. And I watch the predator animals. They're getting desperate. I mean, I had a chicken hawk just pick up a chicken yesterday right in my backyard. That's got to be one brave chicken hawk. They're very aware of what's going on. I mean, right in my backyard. It takes them a while once they got to get the chicken, submiss it, kill it, peck it to death in the head, because they can't just grab it because chickens are pretty dang tough. They have to kill it first. So it takes time. And right in my backyard. So this bird's going to risk being shot by a shotgun right in my backyard. I'm going to tell you, they're desperate. They're hungry. The squirrels are dying. They're not reproducing because of nanotechnology being sprayed upon you. It's not only being sprayed upon you by airplanes, chemtrails, geoengineering, weather modifications, but it's also being pumped out by giant engines. You know, I never realized how much nuclear power poisons the water. Trillions and trillions of gallons a day, they're killing the water on the atomic level. When the scientists found out that they were going to go with nuclear power, most of the scientists knew that the world was going to end. They were smart enough to see that, wait a minute, there's so much water on the planet. When you cool these reactors with water, you destroy the water on the atomic level. We can't drink it anymore. Let's see. Let me do a calculation here. Well, let's see. Yep, I'd say in 70 years of nuclear power, we're pretty much doomed. Everything's going to start dying. Everything on the planet. We're going to literally have what they call the Venus effect. We're going to turn our planet into Venus. Unlivable. Mars. Unlivable. Well, they live on Mars, by the way. They terraformed Mars. And of course, they live on the dark side of the moon, kind of like Pink Floyd. And you think that's fiction, but I'm telling you, it's reality. The technologies that these wealthy people have are far beyond. You have to understand something. You're just a puppet. You're a slave. If you're Oprah Winfrey, then you're a puppet slave. If you're Brad Pitt, you know, Brad in the hands of Jesus, and Pitt, the firing Pitt, then you're a puppet slave that's related to a bloodline of Bush and Obama. And his wife is related to Hillary Clinton. The biggest banking fraud criminals that ever exist on the planet, murderers, war criminals that still just walk amongst us. Obama has killed millions of people with his viruses and his attacks and chemtrails. And it's going to move up to billions in the next 5 or 10 years if we even make it that long. But you're worried about Adrian Peterson whipping his kid. And you can't see that the global engineers of death between the NFL, the banks, the corporations, the government, the media, you can't see that they're all connected as one big giant monster. And they're all supporting each other. Corporations are going, get some flu shots. That's what they did to me. They get on their meetings and, yes, go get a flu shot. They influence you to poison your body. They do exactly what the NFL does. If you're in a contract, they say, hey, sign this new pay plan or you're fired. It works the same way. When they don't want you to work for the competition, believe you me, I know exactly what they do because they did it to me. They go out and they destroy your reputation. They send out your actual co-workers. They have a meeting and they say, okay, we're going to do this to Fred. Fred did something wrong. Of course, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just a threat to my boss because I was smarter than him. I'd say about 100 times smarter than him. I wasn't an alcoholic like he was. I wasn't a pedophile. I wasn't in a secret society. I didn't do dirty deeds. I didn't stab people in the back. I didn't do evil things and steal their money like he did to me. Let me go on a computer and type in something about Fred because I'm insecure. My other boss tells me to do it because, you see, they don't want rising superstars. I was one of the #1 contracted advertising executives in the whole corporation. Broke records off the charts, but they get on their computer and they reestablish your reputation based on a computer. And what's so amazing about society is society believes the damn computer and they don't believe you anymore. They believe the media, they don't believe you. And that's what's wrong with the world. That's why we're doomed. I see a society that is literally doomed. Now, I see people waking up and the media is getting more and more aggressive on their agendas. But I still see about 80% of the population following these idiots. Now, they'll say things like Obama's approval rating is 40%. Well, that's a complete lie. I worked in media. I know. I bet you that guy's approval rating is about 1% in reality. I have not met one person. And I talk to people all around the world. I've not met one person that likes the man. And I've met people who did like him that don't like him anymore because they've seen his lies. Some people you got to slap in the face like 1,000 times to wake them up. In other words, somebody's got to commit, 1,000 war crimes against humanity for people. You know what's so amazing is you're supporting Obama and he's spraying you by air with chemtrails, geoengineering. Literally, not only the birds, the bees, the fish, the oceans are dying, the trees are dying because of Obama. We actually even have fungus dying. Look at one of my videos. The last video I did. Fungus is dying. Fungus. We don't even allow fungus. They don't even want fungus. It is an extinction level event going on, and they're doing it. And then they're going to blame God. That's exactly what they did in the days of Noah. When I was a kid, I used to sit in the woods sometimes with my dog, and I used to just think, I can't believe that God, the God that I love, the God of love, would just destroy mankind. And you see, Satan is almost like partners with God. This is in my opinion. And his job is to tempt you and to test you. And of course, most of you are failing the test. And when you get to a certain level of 80, 90% of the people in the world that are failing, then God says, okay, well, I'm going to select these people, and I'm going to take them off this planet. They're going to be like a butterfly in a cocoon. They're going to get wings. And I'm taking them off this planet, and I'm going to exchange the world's power structure because it's broken. And Satan's like, hey, boss, did I do my job? And God's saying, yeah, Satan, you did a pretty good job. Well, boss, I got all these people. We're trying to figure out who are the conscience-minded people, who are critical thinkers, who are the criminals, who are evil. I know you struggled with this, Lord, in the days of Abraham and the days of Cain and Abel, Adam and Eve, the temptations. I know you struggled with trying to find out who's good. And I know the Lord's Prayer says that eventually we're going to have heaven on earth. It might not be this planet Earth, it might be another planet Earth. I don't know. Eventually we're going to have heaven. We're going to come together as one. Even your Milky Way galaxy is sucking you up into one big giant black hole. So eventually we're all going to come together as one energy. That's what the goal of the journey of life is eventually you have to come together as one. So if you live your life supporting media, you're in religions, organized religions, you're working for the government or you're working for Walmart, evil corporations, you're blind to they program you on an hourly basis. You're never going to know the truth until you break away. That's why Jesus said to the rich man, go and give away all your wealth and then come back to me, because you can't understand truth when you have all these possessions. You'll never understand it, because when I tell you truth, you're going to automatically say, well, I don't want to give up what I have. Well, you can't take it with you to heaven. So what's so difficult to give up what you have? If Jesus were alive today, and let's say he was like me or you, and all of a sudden he had a conscience awakening, right? Well, let's say he said, okay, well, I'm going to give away my house, I'm going to give away my car, I'm going to give away all the possessions that I have, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to stop paying taxes because they use that money to kill people. I'm not going to pay interest because they use that money to kill people too. Okay, so he gives it all up and he lives in a tent. Now he's homeless. Well, that's what he was when he came before. He was homeless, man. So was Mary and Joseph. They was decreed to cut off his head. He was roaming around trying to avoid the Roman soldiers. He was actually a terrorist. Jesus was a terrorist. And when I was a kid, I used to think, why is it so difficult to know Jesus when he comes? Come on, everybody's going to know Jesus. That's what it says in the Bible. Would you know Jesus if you saw him? What do you think the media is doing? What do you think the NFL's doing? What do you think organized religion is doing? What do you think corporations are doing? They're making you worship them. And when you're worshiping them and their possessions that they give you, then you don't know Jesus when he comes. And I see the increase of their wrath upon mankind. I honestly see about 80 to 90% of the people that are submitting to Satan, which is corporations, NFL, media, and they're screaming, Judge Adrian Peterson, he did wrong. When you can't even look in the mirror at yourself. You got to fix yourself before you can scream Judge Adrian Peterson. It's just ego, it's fear, it's hate, it's revenge, it's all the sins that are in your life. And let me tell you something, if you're going to hold up a sign and you're going to be against Ray Rice, or you're going to be Miss America and you're going to say, well, I personally wouldn't stay with the man if he did me this, and you're going to promote this to all these little girls to break up with people when they make a mistake, promote divorce, and then to me, when God judges you, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. We're living in the sun God worship. And they've literally taken Jesus and turned him into a pagan god. And you don't even realize the difference. So the Jesus is going to come down in wealth all to the temples on a white horse or a spaceship from the planet Kolob, and he's going to rescue you. He's going to make you flock to the temples of Babel. Brad Pitt did the movie Babel, of course. And so you're going to flock to the temples, and God's going to say, well, here's the week, and then you're going to dump ice buckets on your head, right? You're going to hold up signs It's spiritual warfare going on, people. God's going, well, yeah, she held up a sign. She thinks she's better than Adrian Peterson. And you know something? God's sitting up there going, wait a minute, I created Adrian Peterson, I created you. Which one's the worst? The one being condemned and punished and persecuted and profiled? Which one's worse? God's going to say the person holding up the sign. Are you not intelligent enough to know that God is the Almighty? He created both of you, and He's going to pick the one who's suffering, not you holding up the sign judging them? You're pretending to be a God, fictionally. Adrian Peterson's a bad person holding up a sign. You are pretending to be a God of mankind. You're a judge and a God of mankind. What do you think that the Creator Father in heaven is going to think about you holding up a sign, judging His Son? What do you think is going to happen? Or your Miss America saying that, I would never stay with a man who hit me. Judging mankind, you are better than Ray Rice. God's going to say, wait a minute, I created both of you. But you're playing God, Miss America, and Ray Rice is suffering. His whole life has been torn apart, millions of dollars lost because of one mistake he made. Now, I'm not agreeing with hitting a woman. I will never agree with that. But I'll tell you, she came after him. She attacked him. And I'm going to tell you what's happening. There's a war on men. You see the global engineers of death, the ones that are spraying chemtrails on you, yes, ladies, and you, yes, children of America. They don't care about you. You're going to hold up a sign and support their agendas, and you think that they actually care about you. They're killing you. They're murdering you slowly. They're murdering your dog, your children, your mother, your father. They're murdering them all. And you're going to support people who murder people. Yes, the NFL is tied in with secret societies, banks, and they're investing in the pharma corporations. The slow death that they're spraying upon you from nuclear power plants, from chemtrails, to smart meter radiation, cell tower radiation, you name it, to BP oil spill, the sun god symbol, to weather warfare like Katrina and Frankenstorm up north so they can get some votes. Notice when Frankenstorm hit the New Jersey coast, all of a sudden Obama won all the elections in that city. It was all pre-planned, pre-designed. And by the way, both of the candidates were in on it. Romney's investing in these pharma corporations also. Go look up his profile. Why isn't that free information? Well, I want to see what corporation in Romney's investing in. If they're going to make our lives slandered in the media, then we want to know about their lives. Privacy is privacy. Personally, I don't really care. I don't believe in a presidential society in the first place. I don't believe that banks or oil companies should own the resources of Mother Earth. They belong equally to everyone. I believe that God is going to force you back into the days. You remember you killed the American Indians? Well, guess what? God was pleased with American Indians. They lived in tents. They had societies, organized societies. They believed in the spirit of the eagle and the buffalo. They only killed what they needed from Mother Earth. They gave back to Mother Earth. They were farmers. So some European United Kingdom King and Queen society, Columbus, sailed over, murdered all millions of American Indians. And you're living in a country that murdered good people. And we replace the good people with robotic idiots who want to consume, spend, hoard, seek revenge, live in fear. The American Indians didn't live in fear. They didn't fear anything. They knew all about the land. The shaman naturally healed all the elements that God gave us. They didn't genetically modify plants and all this stuff. We did. They didn't pretend to be God. Well, let me mix a buffalo with a cow and let me mix a goat with a sheep and I'm going to get this species. They didn't do that. They took what the earth gave them. They left it alone. They didn't pretend to be gods. You know who the leader of the tribes were? The greatest warrior. That's who the leader of the tribes were. Strength, wisdom. The ones that God put on the planet with his blood were the tribal leaders. Now we have weak leaders, non-alpha. If I were to go on a journey with, let's say, Obama or Bush, we're in a plane crash, and we land in the mountains, and who do you think's going to survive, me, Bush, or Obama? I promise you it'll be me. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to crack and moan. I don't have any cocaine habits or alcohol habits. Bush and Obama will be like, I need my drugs. Where are my cocaine? I need some male sexual companion. And I'm sitting here going, okay, well, let's see what we have to eat. I would have to separate myself from them because they're self-destructive. It's obvious that they're self-destructive. That's obvious. And that's how the American Indians chose their leaders, based on survival skills, wisdom, peace, love for the land, warriors, men who knew themselves. And now you have real leaders. And that's where you're going back to. Listen, all you people out there living in your house, you don't want to give up your house. I have an ex-girlfriend call me up and say, what am I supposed to do? You want me to just throw away my house and live in a tent? Well, I said, well, you're going to do it eventually. God's going to force you into that. And let me tell you something. If you throw away that house and you go live in a tent right now, well, what are my kids going to do? Well, I'll tell you what they're going to do. They're going to live eternally at the right hand of the Father. That's what they're going to do. Because you were willing to do what you were told to do without the wrath of Satan, God's business partner. Because he's going to take your planet down to complete suffering. Any moron can see what is going on. I watch planes spraying chemtrails where they're flying at speeds that I've never seen before in my life. I don't know if this is an alien invasion. I don't know what it is. Some people say they're cloaked. But all I know is I watch planes fly at lower level altitudes, and the further the plane is, the slower it should be traveling. But no, it's traveling 100 times faster than the plane at the lower levels. It doesn't make sense. That means these airplanes that are spraying these chemtrails are flying at half the speed of light. I don't know what to tell you, but I've never seen a speed like that. And it's reality. All you got to do is calculate it in your brain and have a conscience. It's what happens when you're connected to heart. When you're connected to heart, the left and the right brain, it's just a trinity that works amazing. You just go, wait a minute. You can figure everything out. You people live in the left brain. You don't even look up, much less see that a plane's flying at half the speed of light. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but you've been being sprayed since 1996, and you don't even take the time to look up. Wow, that does make sense. You know, planes leaving trails. Let me think. Well, they never did it before. Let me do some research. Yeah, the new engines don't even leave trails. Why are these planes leaving trails? Doesn't make sense. Hey, congressman. Hey, senator. Hey, sheriff. What's going on? You got planes leaving trails and people are getting sick. No, you don't have the courage for that. You're so worried about Adrian Peterson and Ray Rice that you don't really have time for yourself. It's sickening. Absolute sickening. Thanks for listening.